Hello everyone, Minute Plus Meditation here. It is Friday, November the 21st, and it is the Feast of the Presentation of Our Lady in the Temple. The first reading, 1 Maccabees. Then Judas and his brothers said, "See, our enemies are crushed. Let us go up to cleanse the sanctuary and dedicate it." That's exactly what they did. So then Judas and his brothers, further down in the reading, and all the assembly of Israel determined that every year at that season, the days of dedication of the altar should be observed with joy and gladness for 8 days, beginning with the 25th day of the month of Chislev. So this is Hanukkah. It's kept to this day by the Jewish people. And it sort of indicates why dedications are so important. The first, remember, the first temple was dedicated by Solomon to God, and God actually, in effect, authorized this or certified it, if you will, by the Shekinah, the glory cloud descending on the temple. We need these locus places. We need these points of reference, if you will, because it's not really about the temple per se. It's about the people in the temple. But the temples are important. They're places of gathering. They're God's sacred spaces. The sacred spaces reserved for the worship of God. In the Old Testament, that was the temple. In the New Testament, it is our churches, which house the Blessed Sacrament. So these are extremely important, and they have ancient roots. So dedication of buildings is very important, and this is an indication, of why, and of course the roots of it. Okay, over to the Gospel, Luke 19. Jesus entered the temple, very appropriate, on this feast day of the dedication of Our Lady, and began to drive out those who were selling things there. And he said, "It is written, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers." Now they should have known, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the scribes should have known not to do this. They were doing this in the court of the Gentiles, which was reserved for the Gentiles to pray, because the Gentiles couldn't go any further than that. So by doing this, first of all, they're skimming off the top, they're making huge profits, and they're preventing, our language would be, they're actually shutting down evangelization. They're shutting down God's desire to have all of his children come and worship him. And that place was for the Gentiles. So what Jesus did was absolutely appropriate and necessary. And these people have the arrogance to say, what right do you have to do this? So our spaces are sacred. And you and I are called to actually, protect our sacred spaces just as Jesus protected the sacred space of his Father. And the most important sacred space is you and me. Remember this as you go throughout your day and make your decisions. God bless you.